Jeremy, JBC Kennedy. It's been a while, man. I can't even remember that. I think the last time I talked to you was a Bellator fight. Like it's been that long. And I tell
Yeah,
everybody, I tell everybody, I'm like, dude, I've seen this guy compete like on the jujitsu mat since he was like an orange or a green belt, man.
yeah. Since I was like 13, man. Yeah,
Yeah, craziness. And then to see you from your amateur days, you wrote for the website with that Thailand blog.
yeah.
Like craziness to see
2014. Yeah,
the full journey you've had. UFC 3-1, lone loss to Alexander Volkanovski. Like the accolades you've had coming through here and to come back to fight for Battlefield is insane to me. I want to hear the thought process
yeah.
about that because, as you said, you haven't fought in front of the home crowd in like forever. And
10 years.
obviously, coming back to the regional scene is something completely different than what you've been used to. So, tell me the thought process and how it all came about. Like Jay messaging you and being like, "Hey, you want to take a fight at 155 or what?"
Yeah, well, so I've had a pretty good relationship with Jay. You know, ever since I left Battlefield. He's always congratulated me on my wins and supported me on my losses, everything throughout my whole career. Um, and then after this last one, we were just talking. I was telling him how bad I was feeling. So um, that I wanted to move up and that I wanted to do it sooner, before the end of the year. And he mentioned that he had the card coming up and there's a spot available, and then he would do whatever he could to, get me a fight. And so we just kind of ran with it. I was in shape, I was ready to go. Weight was where I wanted it to be for a 55 fight, and wanted to test it out and see how I feel, how I react to the rehydration, how the weight cut is compared to a 145er. Um, so yeah, I'm just excited to see, and then obviously fighting at home for the first time in a long time. A lot of my family and friends haven't been able to watch because they don't, travel internationally to all the different crazy places that I've been fighting. So yeah, it kind of came together pretty smooth, and I'm really excited. It's a little different coming back to the regionals and in just the sense of fight weeks and all the little things that come along with it. But I'm bringing that with me, So I brought my team. I know it's a at-home fight, but I brought my team from Vegas. Got an Airbnb downtown because I when I stay up here, it's in Langley and Maple Ridge and stuff
Yeah,
like that. So I wanted to be on the road still, hotel type vibes. So I got an Airbnb right by the arena, like we're right behind the Plaza of Nations here. So just kind of treating it like every other fight week in a different city. Yes, it's my home, but technically I live in Las Vegas right now, so it's still a road trip and it's still an away game in that sense of just getting prepared, living out of a suitcase for fight week and everything like that.
for sure. Now, obviously, you said friends and family haven't seen you fight in front of a home crowd in about 10 years. So when they found out you were going to fight at home, what was the response like? Like, were you telling people before Battlefield announced it? Were you like, "Listen, guys, I'm going to be fighting at home"? Like, what was the family and friends like?
Yeah, so the immediate family, they all knew, and they were itching and getting ready to buy tickets and stuff. And then I kind of just let Battlefield do the announcement, and everyone who wanted to get tickets online. I haven't done the whole, selling tickets and all that in a long time, and that was just another stress I didn't really want to worry about. So just sent them push them towards the Ticketmaster link and let them, whoever wanted to come. I'm sure this won't be the last one. I would definitely want to fight at home again. And now that it's pretty easy to set up with Jay, I'm hoping to do it again. Obviously before the end of the year, or again at the beginning of next year. Just while I transition into 155, I feel like getting a few fights under my belt and really filling into the weight class is smart before I fight in these really high up organizations or whatever against lightweights who've been lightweights forever and cut a lot of weight and do all the stuff that I was doing at 145. This will kind of just help me introduce into the weight class, and like I said, filling out is really important to me. Like I want to be. I've kind of said goodbye to the 45 days. There's no way
Yeah.
I can make that again, just because it's a permanent move now. So I want to fill in and do it properly.
And speaking of that, you've obviously you fought the best of the best the past few years. Um, the record, you came close in a few of them, and a few of them just like shitty losses that happened. You said the 45, the decision came after, the last fight that you wanted to go up to 55. Was there any thought throughout those last four fights about 55, or did it just literally come after this one?
No, it's been about, yeah, literally since the Pedro Calval fight. So that was the fifth fight ago,
Yeah,
and then that was me earning a title shot. So I wanted to move up. I'd been told I should move up. The weight cuts were a lot. It was like a year round diet and just took too much out of me. But I was so committed to my weight class. It's been the same weight class I fought in my whole entire career, and I had earned a title shot. So I didn't want to start fresh at 155 and go back and have to climb the ladder again. And then obviously the way the Pitbull fight went, I lost a lot of muscle on that one just because the extra pound, went crazy in my head, and so I really dieted hard for that, and then I wanted to, I could still make the weight because I do all the right things. I'm super disciplined in my diet and everything. So I was making the weight, but it's the rehydrations that were always kind of messing with me too. Putting on too much weight afterwards and indulging in food and just not feeling myself. Um, and then just honestly, the way I train and the weight I'm at when I train is nowhere near what I fight because I have to lose so much muscle mass to get down to that shooting range of 145. So dieting into my low 60s before I do all the water drop was just too much. I just wasn't feeling myself. I didn't carry the proper strength I had anymore. The fast feet, the agility that I wanted, I just felt really slow and sluggish, especially the last one. The last one I went into the cage at 173. So, within that 24 hours, I'm putting on 30 pounds,
yeah,
and that's just not natural at all. It's not an advantage to be bigger at that point. I would have way rather gave up, 5, 8 pounds and just felt a little bit more myself. And that was the biggest deciding factor. Is I just in that last fight, I knew what I could have done, but I physically couldn't do it.
of
And
course,
that's
yeah.
where I was like, if it's affecting the performance, that's when I got to stop being stubborn. And after the last four, there's not much holding me back ego wise to the division. I'm not tied to that division anymore. So now I get to start fresh and no better time.
Was it simply you, or like a total thought process with you and Eric and stuff like that?
Yeah, it was kind of everyone in my family too. My wife has to deal with me for
Yeah.
months leading to a 45 fight. My dad is actually probably the biggest advocate of me moving up to 55. He had since I was like 25. He's
Yeah,
always saying that I'm cutting too much weight, and so it's just a general consensus of just my whole circle around me. My training partners, like Kai, who's over here with me, he fights at 45, and I kind of just mirror what his weights are, like out of camp and fight week, and when he goes into the cage, and it's just I was always just a lot bigger. So I just obviously I was doing something. You think because you make the weight that you're at an advantage because you're this big featherweight, but it's just not the case. I, way more energy now. Like even my workouts this whole week, I've been able to do a lot more and feel myself. And I know when I go into the cage, I'm going to be right around the same weight that I train all the time at. So it's just going to be like another day and full gas tank, and I can't wait.
well, even looking at you right now, we're 2 days away from the fight. Tomorrow's the weigh-in. You're not sucked in or anything, right? So
No cheekbone. Yeah, yeah. That was another thing. I mean, I still have I have some serious weight to cut. Like it's lightweight is still no joke. I'm probably got 20
yeah,
pounds, but um, it's just a different percentage, right? Like it's not I'm not burning all the muscle and body like nothing like that. My physique stays the same. It's just a lot of water that I got to lose, and that's the norm for weight cutting. So
of course.
just exactly. And the full cheeks is
Yeah,
nice. Just
exactly. Something I heard in that interview you did with James Lynch was that, Eric couldn't make this fight. He's had prior something going on. Is this the first fight you've had in a while where he hasn't been in your corner?
there's honestly off the top of my head, I would say the two that I can think of was when I was in Saudi Arabia, when I fought Braga.
Yeah.
Um, he couldn't come. I can't remember. There was another scheduling conflict. He had a couple guys on the same card. So obviously he took presidency. And then this one, he's already, it was a short notice kind of put together fight. and he was already scheduled to go to Paris with Brad Tavares, so he's out there now. And then I think that's it. I think one of my brave fights, I was in Morocco, no, Saudi Arabia. I fought Murat Magomedov, and he was in the PFL finals with Lance Palmer. So there's been a few scheduling differences, but yeah, out of my like last 8 years with him, this is going to be like the third fight. So
Yeah.
I
But like you said,
have my
you got Kai there with you, mainstay.
I got family. My coaches, my other coach, boxing coach Giff, he's flying in tomorrow.
Okay.
So my usual suspects. It's just
I
not
noticed
not
you
the
went sort of old school yesterday too. I saw on your social media back out there training with Sean Albrecht. So getting a little bit of
yeah
work done here in BC and Vancouver as well with, old school West Coast martial arts guys.
yeah like that gym. I mean, I was obviously it's moved locations, but the root of Ascension is kind of where I started. That was the old school West Coast BJJ in Poco. Um, and so that was pretty cool. I mean, he's out camping, so he just gave me the keys and let me go in there with Kai, and we just had a late night, had the gym to ourselves. It was a holiday, so no classes or anything, and I got to go just to one of my old stomping grounds, and just
Yeah.
had the place nice.
Sort of crazy. Have you are you having a chance to train at all with Bibby? Did I lose
I
you?
haven't seen him this trip, but every time I come back, yeah, I always see him. He's like the guy that I still consistently train with the most. But this time around, like I said, I flew right in. We stayed in Maple Ridge. I did the quick training session last night with at Ascension, and then we head down to Vancouver this morning. So
For
now,
sure. 11 minutes into this interview, I haven't even talked to you about the fight. I've talked to you about getting to the fight. I've talked to you about this other stuff. But so let's talk the fight itself. Jeremy Henry. Was this the first name brought to you?
yes, for this card, yes, we were actually looking at something later on in the year as well. First, just because I thought this would have been too close for him to be able to find me an opponent. We were talking like mid July that I wanted to fight, and so I didn't have much hopes of him being able to find a fight within anything under 8 weeks. But he mentioned Henry. He reached out. Henry was interested. I think he had a fight in July, so we had to see how like after that fight. I guess that was what might maybe sparked his thought process on that, and he's made it. He's fought in the U. I mean, in Canada before. He's fought in Navid. He's fought for Battlefield, so it made sense. And he was willing to go and willing to do it. So I'm just grateful. He's a tough dude. His biggest win, I would say, is probably Alex Morgan, who has also a big name in Canada. So it makes a lot of sense in that aspect. And yeah, he's a game guy, and he's willing to fight, and so I'm excited about it.
You've talked about his game, and I've heard all about it. I'm sure if other people have watched those interviews, they've heard all about it too. I don't want to really touch on that at all. I just want to ask you though, because you said, he's a flashy guy. He likes to change stances. He likes to do all that kind of stuff. He does have a heavy hand. This camp, like you're
Yeah.
saying, it's your first camp. You're training like it's an out of town fight. This camp is going as seriously as it would if it were a UFC fight, a Bellator fight, a PFL fight. Correct?
Exactly. Like, I I'm definitely not taking him lightly. I can't. You know, the only thing different is that it was a little bit shorter of a camp from like, hey, we got to fight. That's my last few of I've had 8 to 10 weeks notice. But this one was about 5 or 6 weeks. But the difference is it's a lifestyle. I live and train in Vegas, so every single day is a work day is going to the gym and working out, and eating healthy because I knew since the last fight that my next move was going to be 155. So yes, I was putting on weight, but I didn't want to be one of those guys that just eats junk and just get big. Like I wanted to put it on properly. So I had a macro plan that I was following, and I was not preparing to fight in September, so I was eating a little more, but it was all healthy food. I was hitting my protein and lifting and whatever, so I was putting on the weight, and I think that's kind of why I have an actual serious weight cut. This whole camp has been just like any other camp. Is I didn't get to just slack off because I could with the weight. I had to be in the gym. I had to be dieting. I had to
Yeah.
be eating super clean. I had slowly tapering and water loading and doing everything normal. As far as the training camp wise, sparring, it's a 5 round fight, so I don't get to go in there and just hey, I'm going to do 3 today and that's it. You know, every round, every spar day was 5 rounds, grappling with it afterwards, because I still had weight to lose. So
Yeah.
all the extra work I do, I'm still doing my sprints and wanting to make sure my cardio was there for 5 rounds. I don't plan on it going five, but you got to be prepared for five. So the training camp has been high level. I feel like I've been sparring and training with, I'm UFC level guys, PFL,
Yeah.
Bellator guys. So it's not going to show me anything that I haven't seen. My sparring sessions are going to be just as hard, or have been just as hard as this fight. I feel.
Have you enjoyed the fact that you are sparring with guys that are heavier? Has that been more fun? Like obviously you're getting different looks, right? So it's been a little bit different.
Yeah, it's I'm mixing in with the lightweights a little bit more. At the beginning of camp, I was doing a lot of welterweight work as well. But again, as I started to taper and get leaner and realizing, I'm fighting a lightweight, I'm not fighting a welterweight. So out of camp, it'll be a little bit funner. But as my weight was coming down, I wanted to stay around my weight class, and so the lightweights and even featherweights that are out of camp, their weight is around the same, So that's the kind of bodies I was looking at. So a lot of the same training partners, um, because even when I was fighting at 45, I was training with 55ers as well. So
Yeah.
it was more being able to fuel my workouts. At 45 for the last 4 weeks, I'm at a deficit, like a crazy carb deficit. I'm training on an empty stomach. I'm running afterwards, and just my whole camp thought processes around my diet. And this time, I wanted to carb up for my sessions, and I would blast out 5 rounds because I had fuel in my stomach, and so that's the biggest benefit was just being at a more natural walk around weight where I can kind of eat comfortably, and that's probably going to be the weight that I walk into the cage at, is what I've been training at as well. So I just, after doing this camp, I can't believe I waited this long to do.
No kidding. You talked about macros and like understanding the nutrition. Did the strength and conditioning side of things change a little bit as well?
Yeah, so especially right after the last fight, I've been lifting with Punahele Soriano, he's a welterweight, but again, he walks a little lighter for welterweight, and for me, I was 180 after that last fight, walking around pretty comfortably. So our weight wasn't very far off, and the guys at the PI, like I get along with the strength coaches, and they knew my plan, they knew my move and my goal. So right after the last fight, it was, we're training to keep the same weight, the walk around weight, and then add muscle to it. So my whole training camp and strength and conditioning aspect of it has been geared to change my body. And like I said, I honestly don't think I could physically make 145 again now, just with how I've had to diet these last few weeks, and where my weight is now. This just
Yeah.
featherweight is so far away that
Yeah,
it's
for
it's
sure.
gone now.
All right, one last thing. You said you want to be active. You said we could potentially see you in front of the home crowd again later this year, early next year. I know you said to James as well that, you want to get on that PFL lightweight tournament. So, if this
Yeah.
goes quickly, could we see you potentially on the October card?
Yeah, like I know, I think Jay was even hinting at, the winner of our fight having something lined up. I don't know as far as opponents or what he has in mind. Um, but obviously, I can't look past this guy. He's
No.
dangerous. Um, and I have one job right now. Is getting this job done, um, getting a win. Just starting my path at 155. But after that, obviously, the weight cuts are obviously tough, but it's not like a 45 weight cut where it takes months and months and months. I can make that weight and turn around. So obviously, all goes well, and we're injury free and damage free. Then yeah, I would love to jump right back into it and get another one in, and see what the new year holds after getting, these 2 wins back to back.
2 days before the fight, he's Jeremy Kennedy takes on Jeremy Henry Thursday night live BFL 84 main event 5 round fight, not 3 rounds like you got to fight for 5. Hopefully it doesn't get
Yep.
there. Can't see it getting there myself. I did a little prediction and I don't see it going 5 myself. But I'll give you the floor, man. If you have any shout outs, any thank yous, anything like that, if you want to tell the fans what they can expect on Thursday night, if any of these local fans don't know who Jeremy Kennedy is, let them know what they can see inside the cage, man.
Yeah, man. I'm just excited to be back, fighting in BC and Vancouver especially, and in front of my friends and families. I got to show out. It's you can expect. I'm hoping there's going to be some JVC chants going on there. It's been a while, so if we can get some JVC chants, and then I'll get the job done, and yeah, walk out of there with the win.
Heck, some of these people don't even know what JBC is stands for, man.
Yeah, it's been a while. We got to remind them.
No kidding. Anyways, man, good luck. Thanks a lot for your time, bro.
Thank you very much, man. Bye.